I got this. Who's your favorite band, Causa? By the way, we're live.
Favorite band? I really like currently. Actually, I've been listening to a guy called Sam Fender. He's like an English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sort of like, I don't know, what would you say? A cross between like Oasis and that type of stuff. Like
Sam Fender. I can hear him. All right. So let's start with a bit of pre-tune as we wait for a couple of crew to come in. Hypersonic Missiles.
Oh, that's probably the best. That's probably his most famous song. But
is it going to be like bashing out some hardcore shit?
No.
Oh, I'll already like it, man. Already like it. Good morning, Nico. Good morning, Tez. How are you guys? All right. We're going to kickstart this one in 2 minutes, guys. Yeah, I like these beats, Cause.
Yeah. I don't know how I came across it.
2 minutes, guys. All right. Ooh, stop it. Mate, I like it.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of Killers vibes about it as well, mate.
Yeah.
Very cool. Who would have thought a man of your modesty with such good taste? Oh, so good. All right, guys. To those of you that are coming in live, it's nice to have your company here this morning. We're going to start in 2 minutes, guys. So, what you got going on this weekend, Causa? Any news, mate?
Yeah, I'm actually meeting up with a couple of mates, the Savo, that I haven't seen for a while since lockdown. So I'll probably have a couple of beers. That's why I went to the gym this morning.
Exactly. You're on the deposits. Exactly. And that's what you should be doing. Exactly right, brother. Where do you know these boys from?
So cricket and high school. So some of them are older than me, but some of them that I've played cricket with are a bit younger. So
right.
Yeah.
Mate, I didn't know you were you're a cricketer.
Yeah. Well, not anymore.
What? So give me some either stats or some specialties, mate.
What would you like to know?
Were you a batter or a bowler?
A bowler.
Right. Okay. Good.
But I do have 200s that I've scored, so that's.
Ooh, look at this guy. Dropping bombs. I like it. What was your bowling style? Were you a quickie or a spinny or what?
Yeah. Well, I'm 6'5", so bowling spin doesn't really cut it.
So. It's kind of like spin bounce. Yeah. I like it, mate. I played cricket for like 4 or 5 years, and I had a high score of 6. I was so bad, man. I was so bad. All right, so we got all the shit stirrers coming in. Good morning, Nicky boy. Good morning, brother. Good morning, Tezza. How are you, mate? Good morning, Christopher. How are you, my dude? And of course, Nick's taking pot shots at us. You blokes coordinating outfits and haircuts. I'm going to tell you a story. I actually modeled my haircut off Corey. So yes, that is absolutely correct.
Yeah,
you got it. All right. I reckon we kickstart this one. So if you do decide to watch this episode later on, guys, in any of the platforms, I'd love you to hashtag replay in the comments. So we're live across, I don't know, where are we got? We got Facebook pages, we've got LinkedIn, we've got groups, we got YouTube. So I'm here with obviously Cause. So Cause, you ready to rock and roll, brother?
Yep, let's go.
Let's do it. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast, the podcast that you come when you're sick of the dumb diets, unsustainable workout programs, and we've got a little treat today. I'm going to start a series of bringing in some of our favorite and successful clients from Better Body Academy. I'm here with my boy, Mr. Corey Donnell. How are you, mate?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Yeah, very good. As Nick kindly pointed out, we've coordinated haircuts and shirts. I'm definitely not as good looking, but I have better lighting, mate. What are you doing? It looks like you're in a letterbox there, bro.
I'm in the loft. That's my office.
I love it. So, guys, before we kickstart the episode, just want to remind you, and it started particularly with a couple of clients. Shout out to Nico, Haley Murray. So if you decide to screenshot one of these episodes and share it to your Instagram stories, tagging me on Instagram, or you decide to leave us a review on the Apple Podcast player, you'll be in the draw at the end of November to win $300 card hold cash. Now, what we're going to do is 𝐶𝐨𝐲 and I are just going to give you 3 seconds to strike a pose that you can take a screenshot of this and share it to your stories. You ready, 𝐶𝐨𝐲? 1, 2, 3.
I didn't know what to do.
Mate, that's going to look ridiculous on the podcast. Anyway, guys, so the reason I'm bringing 𝐶𝐶𝐲 in is because this man has done fantastically well inside of Better Body Academy. When did we meet, 𝐶𝐶𝐲? How long ago was it, brother?
February. So it would have been early February.
Right in the depths of COVID times, right?
Yeah. I remember I was... it was just about to go into a lockdown, I think. So just before that, yeah.
I guess I'm reflecting from Canadian perspective because Canadian and UK and American was right back here, and then Australia obviously got the COVID scenario a little bit later than the rest of the world, right? So, cool, man. So what I want to do, guys, is basically ask Nick a couple of questions and probably to give you guys a little bit of a feel for his journey, because I think the reason this is important is to bring other everyday guys and girls on the podcast that are inside the Better Body Academy and had a great experience, not just to prove to you our model is great, but to help you kind of get into the shoes and minds of someone who was possibly stuck, up to 6 to 8 months ago. And not, 𝐶𝐶𝐲 is a fantastic guy, utter gentleman, great relationship. But this is more about understanding that the process doesn't have to be around dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. All right, so let's start at the top, brother. Give the audience a little bit of a backstory on yourself, how old you are, family, work, etc. Yeah,
so I'm Corey, obviously. I'm 44. I'm married 18 years to lovely Rowena. I have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy. The oldest is 15. The youngest is about to turn 10.
Wow.
And I work in the finance industry. So I work at it's a desk job. Let's just call it that, a desk job. Unfortunately, I started a new job during COVID where I'm supposed to go out and visit clients, but I haven't been able to do that. So I'm looking forward to that in the next, probably in the next year. And I'm a Sydney boy, born and bred in Ryde. And I don't live too far away from there now, but I did spend a bit of time living in the north of England in Sheffield.
Really? I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, so I played cricket up there for a great club called Norton Oaks.
Right.
I went on a tour and then stayed there for 8 months with my girlfriend, which ended up being my wife. But so that's just a little bit of a snapshot, I guess.
Mate, what a charming love story.
Well, I met her. She was still in high school, so there you go.
Right. So is she English?
No, her dad is. He's actually Welsh, but we won't hold that against him.
Well, we won't. That's off chat, right? I love it. Okay, cool, man. And so the kids are how old?
So Lucy's 15, Eliza is about to turn 13, and Oscar's about to turn 10.
Wow. Okay, cool. So you did it, right? You did your dadhood at what does that make it, like?
So I was in my late 20s.
Yeah. Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
So let's go back there. Like pre having kids, it sounds like you're a pretty like active dude.
Yeah, so
doing stuff on the weekends and playing sports.
Yeah, so I still play soccer, but I was playing cricket and soccer. I wouldn't say that I was fit. I was active.
Okay.
I was still probably I would have been, still over 100 kilos back in those days. But I was playing, I was continuously playing sport through that time. But when I played cricket in England, it was playing sport, going to the pub, that type of thing.
That type of sport.
Old school, a bit of old school.
Yeah, totally. And isn't it a thing, right? When you are a little bit younger, your metabolism seems to go at a higher rate, and so it doesn't matter typically what you're putting in, you can kind of get it off the other end, right? And then all of a sudden, did you notice a point of where you started to kind of go, oh, like it's slowing down here, and I can't get away with what I used to?
Yeah, I tell you what, I went on a cricket tour to England the first time I went over, and I would say I was probably maybe 100 kilos. I came back 108 kilos. So I put on 8 kilos in like 4 weeks.
Wow. That's some good drinking.
Drinking and eating. And I played a fair bit of cricket, but it didn't outweigh what I was putting in.
What you were doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so from that time onwards, obviously you have kids and then it sort of compounds. So at your heaviest, where do you reckon you got to?
So I know this. So I was 126 kilos.
Okay. And how tall are you?
6'5".
6'5" and 126 kilograms. Okay, cool. So from a composition perspective, you can carry more weight because you're a taller guy, but probably what would you say is your healthy weight where you'd sort of want to sit?
Where I am now.
Which is?
I'm 93 kilos.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's epic. So yeah, I think that's sort of, just probably a dip under 100 kegs for someone that's 6'5" is reasonable. Cool, man. Okay, so let's go back to about 8 months ago or February. You sort of said that there was like your health was kind of going in a little bit of a different direction. Can you kind of describe that? And what, like, when we first spoke, was it for a problem that you were trying to solve particularly?
It actually just came out of the blue, to be honest. I was on Facebook, just scrolling aimlessly through Facebook, and I saw a photo of Harold Marshall, who I knew from another mate that I worked with that used to live up the coast. And I saw his transformation of what he achieved. And he wasn't a big guy, but he pretty much, was cut up and lost a bit of weight. So he looked fantastic. So I just commented and liked his post. And then obviously you reached out. And then it just came at a point in my life, I think, where I'd had enough of being mediocre, if that makes sense. Being the person that just keeps putting things off and procrastinating and saying, yep, I'll do it later. I'm fine. But really, in all honesty, I probably wasn't fine. I was probably starting to pile that weight back on again, and not, and obviously being tall, it sort of comes on slowly, and you don't notice as much.
100%. With most men that I sort of speak to, when they're in and around that kind of 6'2", 6, and you're bigger than that, usually what I see is that with a guy that's kind of under 6 foot, he kind of notices when he goes above the 100 kilograms. But when it's a guy that's kind of closer to, 6 and a bit, they typically kind of get to the 120 and they're like, whoa, hang on. Okay, I'll just cross the 120 barrier.
Yeah. And well, that was definitely it previously. Like people would say, oh, you're fine. You look all right. Yeah. But when they didn't really see me with my shirt off and that type of stuff. So it was just me looking at myself in the mirror going, oh, you've probably let yourself go a bit further than you should. And it's time to do something about it.
So going back to that point, like, I'm interested, like, when you were sort of thinking about it for a while and you kept putting it off, why were you putting it off? Like, what was, like, let's dig into the reason as to why. Like, can you remember back to that? Was it just I'm busy thing, or?
My work plays a big part at the moment now too. So I always made an excuse of time. I don't have the time to do it. I work quite long hours. I have a family, and I put them before any other sort of priority. So there'd be no fitness. It'd be work, come home, kids, dinner, bed, and it'd just be a vicious cycle that way. And pretty much just procrastinating on things that I wanted to do.
So when you decided to kind of join the academy, was it simply a weight issue, or do you think there was something deeper there driving it?
Initially I thought it was a weight issue. But after being in the academy for a while, doing the mastermind, I think it was more of a not putting myself first. So putting everybody else before me. But being part of the academy and the mastermind have sort of opened my eyes up to, you know what, I can't help everybody else if I don't help myself first. So if I don't get myself and my head in the right space, I'm never gonna be able to be one, the best partner I can be, and two, the best father I can be. And that's all that I really want to do.
Out of interest, did you notice that was so yes, you were carrying a bit of weight and you got up to about 127 kilos at a point, but did you notice that there was impacts in how you were fathering, how you were partnering, how you were living your life? Was there actually impacts, or was it just like, oh, it's just uncomfortable, that's all?
No, look, I have a short fuse, so I let things build up, and then I'll go from 1 to 100, bam. I would probably yell a lot more than I probably should. It like the kids for the smallest things too, but which would make me feel terrible afterwards. And I'd say to the kids, "I'm sorry, that wasn't what I meant to do." But obviously, with the pressures of work and the pressures of everything, and then it just keep mounting up, and that's how I go about it.
There you go. And I understand, like, so do you think this is accurate? So if you're listening in live or you're watching on the podcast later on, let me kind of play with this a little bit and ask you the question, because when you start to carry, weight, or you don't feel physically your best in itself, okay, you're going to have a little less energy. You're maybe not going to be as up for as many, physical tasks as perhaps you would have used to. But what's the connection between, being short-tempered and yelling and being physically unfit? For me, the kind of the junk there, the step is that when you don't feel good about yourself, it's hard then for you to go and feel great about the world and your life generally. And that's a pretty simple kind of connection to actually make. And so when people come into the academy, I mean, I think they think they're entering for a kind of a fat loss transformation, and sure, that's the surface level. But when you do a transformation, I don't actually think you just want to lose fat just for the sake of losing fat. It's because of how it makes you feel, and then what impact that feeling has on how you do things. And so what you're kind of saying here is that for you, feeling, I guess, in a bracket, unhealthy about yourself meant that you acted out in a way in your life.
Yeah, well, I never believed it, but unless, this is going to sound a bit corny, but unless you love yourself, you're never going to be able to love anybody else. So I don't think I was at a point where I was really feeling comfortable in my own skin and being able to relay that outwards either.
And even though you're no doubt in your job, which is which is executive type role, you would do a lot of Zoom calls. Even now, to be able to be kind of broadcast and talk about this openly, that's like something you'd never talk about before, right?
No, actually, I was on a call the other day and someone mentioned that they could tell in my face that I'd lost quite a bit of weight. And that was something that was really positive for myself. But even being like, I'm much more confident when I talk to people now. And I don't know whether that's just because of the weight loss, because of everything else that's been going on and how positive I have become out of this. But I can see the benefits really starting to come to the fore. Yeah.
And I think let's pull that apart. I think there's a couple of things going on. Number one, you can love yourself as in, wow, like I feel like I'm reverse aging. And that's something you're doing. Like, you're putting photos up into our group and I'm like, fuck, this dude looks like he's losing a year a week. And it helps with your nice stylish haircut. And when and so the first thing is, firstly, physically, you actually feel like you look better, which is great. Everyone wants to look younger as soon as they get above about 20. And then the second thing is, you've probably through repetition set a habit around, I'm the sort of guy that says that I'm going to do something and then follows through. And that wasn't the case 8 months ago. Now, when you build up that kind of habit, you're actually creating an identity around that person. And that for me is the key. And see, I think the biggest challenge of starting and stopping all of the time is not the fact that that's the up and down weight. The problem is that every time you stop and give up on yourself, or every time that you say that you're going to do something and you don't do it, you just cast another vote for the person that you don't want to be like. But you've just proven it again. Oh, I'm going to do something tomorrow. I don't do it. Tick. Proof. Do you see how that builds up over time?
Oh, that was definitely me. Actually, the best thing happened this morning when I went to the gym. My watch automatically said 4 minutes to plus fitness, so
Wow.
it knows where I'm going. So
Wow.
Just by getting that repetitiveness going, it's what's happening now.
Dude, I love that so much. Okay, so let's talk about the physical part of the journey. So, what was your biggest struggle in sort of in the last 8 months? What did you need to overcome the most, do you think?
Just going to the gym.
Just going to the gym?
Yeah, I never really was a gym person. I was more of a team sport type of person. I'd go to training and do all that type of stuff, but never lift weights or any of that type of stuff. Initially, that was hard for me to overcome, but you just got to get in there and do it. The only way to overcome that fear is to just do it and get in there.
So for someone that says, yeah, but I don't want to go to the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, so one of our guys
at the
gym here is commenting, I agree. So what if there's just this idea that, yeah, but I don't want to go to the gym. Why has the gym specifically played an important or integral role in your transformation?
I can just see the differences in my body. Like I would not get those changes structurally, and I can see muscle that I'm at the moment. So, wow. And that's a real positive for me, that I've never really had that type of stuff previously. And for me, it was all about getting started. So I would only go once or twice a week to start out with. I knew, and this is from having a conversation with yourself, I knew that it was going to be a long journey, not a 8-week, 16-week, whatever it is, hammer myself 5 days a week in a gym. I knew that I could do 2 days a week in a gym. I could go for a walk, get my steps up, and that would count a long way to me building those blocks. So I could, and now I'm going 4 or 5 days a week because I am starting to enjoy going to the gym. I'm starting to get a, I have a program, and I'm sticking to that program, and I really like doing it now. Like I was at the gym this morning. So I think starting off in small steps is a real catalyst to build on.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because we see people come into the academy, and I mentioned this yesterday in Q&A, is that some people just go, I say to them, how many days a week you want to train? They say 7. And I'm like, oh, no, you don't want to train 7 days a week because you're currently training none. So much of this is about forming habits, and you did it like low and slow, right?
Yeah, well, what you got to remember is when you come into the group and you see people posting and some of the guys are looking really fit, it's quite overwhelming at the start.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy must train 4 or 5 days, 6 days, whatever. But you've just got to take a step back and say, you're on this for yourself. They're on it for their self. You start the way you want to start, and you'll build up to that. Like a perfect example. Today I did chest bench press. When I first started in the academy, I was lucky to lift like 20 kilos. Today I managed to lift 75 kilos. So, and it's taken me a long time to get to there, but you just got to start. You got to get in there. You got to, don't worry what other people think about you. You're there for yourself.
Dude, how do you do that though? Because if I'm a 30-year-old man or a 40-year-old man that's a successful guy at my work, maybe I'm a manager at work, or maybe I'm a company owner, and I go in and I've got, Johnny next to me who's 16 years old and bench pressing 50 kilos, and I'm sitting there and I'm kind of lifting the bar, which is 20 kilos, and then I feel like a dick because my ego's in the way. Like, how do you get over that, bro?
Well, that's it. You got to leave your ego at the door. You've got to go in there with a plan and say, this is what I'm going to do. And that's what I do now. I plan my week on a Friday afternoon. So for the following week to say, this is what I'm going to do. It's hard. It's hard to look over and go, oh, that guy's bench pressing 100 kilos. And then you're bench pressing 20 kilos. It's like, wow. But, you know, you got to start somewhere. It's with everything in life. You've got to start somewhere before you can, you know, kick goals. Like,
dude, so true. It's kind of like if you look at the equivalent of like a career, you wouldn't start a new career and go, why the fuck aren't I the president yet?
Yeah, well, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
that's exactly right,
dude. So look, I think that's incredible in terms of overcoming what you have, that limiting belief, and I think the ego plays a big role. And I think it plays a big role. You know, I've kind of talked about this before. The most impactful book that I ever read was The Power of Now, predominantly because it helped me to understand the role that our ego plays in our life. And so to someone that can get past the fear of judgment around a gym, there are some really rich opportunities that are going to come to you quickly. And let me tell you what those opportunities are. Number one, you will get more improvement in the first year of training than you will ever get. That is in both strength, in confidence, and in growth of muscle or tone, if that's what you want. We call this newbie gains. After I've been training since I was 10 to 12 years old, just doing like little 2 kilo biceps at the gym. But the benefit of doing this without steroids, that's my bugbear, without steroids, with doing it lifting light weights to start, is that you become really good over a period of time. And if you go like I did to Europe quite recently and you don't train for a month, the muscle that you've created and the composition that you've created naturally on the way up takes a long time to leave. Kind of like the difference between a house being built really cheaply by a crappy construction mob and a house that's built quality with quality builders, right? And so what I love about you, 𝐶𝐸, is that you never tried to fast track the process. You were incentivized about where I'm going to be in kind of 5 to 10 years with my kids and how can I create a vision for them? And I think that's so cool. And I've got a comment here coming through from one of the boys, Terry. I know what you mean. I see lots of young women lifting big weights and it just amazes me. And as long as it's with good form, Tez, I think the reality is they've built that strength over time. And there's no reason that a woman cannot do that. Let's kind of move forward, 𝐶𝐸. So talk to us about how your transformation results have been. So from where to where, what changes, you know, numerically and physically have you seen?
Yeah, so when I started in the academy, I was 118 kilos. I'm now down, I weighed myself this morning before the gym, I'm 93.8 kilos, I think.
Wow.
And I think I've lost about 20 or so centimeters off the waist.
Wow.
But what I've noticed the most is that, and you've spoken about it before, is my engine is getting bigger, so I want more. And it's taken a lot of time to get to that point, but I want to get stronger. I want to be able to run further as well. That's one of my goals. And that's another thing that I've started doing is listing goals out. If you don't have goals that you want to achieve, you're not really going to be able to push forward because you don't know where you're going or where you want to go. So I think at the moment, my goals are changing all the time. So one of my first goals was just to run 5K, and I've been able to do that. Now I want to run 5K under 30 minutes, and I've been able to do that. And now I want to move on to more strength. So
this sounds very so sorry to cut you off there, sound a bit douchey.
Yeah.
This sounds very very similar to the Oracle John Timmons, who,
well, you know what?
Yeah.
He's one of the guys that I keep looking at and going, wow, he's amazing. Like those guys that are just pushing themselves further and further, and changing the goalpost is amazing to me.
So incredible. So incredible. And that's people think that the benefit of coming into like a group coaching program like we do is like, oh, it's going to be good because the coach is going to hold me accountable. Look, we'll give you some really good coaching, but actually the thing that you're going to love more than anything is the people that are around you and the community. The community is the reason why you're going to want to stay involved. So dude, so 25 kilos down, roughly 20 centimeters off the waist, that's like, for you, that's like what, 20% of body weight, basically? Maybe 15% of body weight.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Wouldn't be happier.
It's a lot of extra fat to not be carrying around on a daily basis, right? And so no one, you got more energy. What about like health and mindset wise? Would you, and don't make shit up, like, would you say that there's been a change there from, say, a year ago?
Well, yeah. Well, I after doing the mastermind and learning some more stuff during that, I'm doing things that I thought I would never do and I would never have thought of doing. For example, meditation. I do that every morning. Just it clears my mind so much, especially I've got quite a lot of work on at the moment, but it just gives me a clarity in the morning to what do I need to do? You know, how am I going to do that? And then just basic stuff. Like I was relatively organized person, well, you got to be,
Yes.
but just being able to list my goals down, what I want to do today, priorities, I'm just a lot clearer.
Yeah, that's mad. That's awesome. So, last couple questions. So internally, you feel like your mindset has kind of shifted.
Mm-hmm.
How has that? Have you noticed how that's playing out in your life?
Mm-hmm.
In your life experience?
Yep. So mostly with my family. So just the kids wanting to do more and just me saying yes more often, which is such a simple thing. But previously I would be tired. I wouldn't want to do anything. I wouldn't want to go to the park to kick the footy around. Now they just come and, can we do this? Yep, let's go. And we're out the door. Like today, like this morning after they'll get up, we're going to walk up to the local coffee shop, which I drive to normally, take the dog, have a coffee, walk back.
So cool.
It's very simple things.
Does that make you feel good?
But yeah. Well, and I could have just imagined what it's making like them feel as well. So,
and how it makes me feel. Like, dude, this gives me the most amount of gratitude, bro. Seriously, to be able to have this conversation and share it publicly. There's a number of people that have come in and watched this live who've been on the fence for a while, and we'll talk about them in a moment. But I think when a lot of people, when I ask them what their why is, they say that it's their kids. I'm doing this for my kids. But I just want to challenge you with this, right? And this may not be right, but the reason that you want to do it for your kids is in part for your kids, but actually the real driver of when you're sitting in bed at 5 o'clock in the morning, you don't want to fucking get up, is that you doing it for your kids makes you feel better about yourself as a father, right? And that's the connection that most people don't make. It's not that you want to be a better partner. It's, yes, of course you want to be a better partner, but being a better partner makes you feel better about yourself so that you don't feel like I'm not pulling my kind of equal in this relationship. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree with that. There's no, well, when I first started well, I think the conversation we had when I first joined was, I want to do this for my kids. It was exactly that. It was exactly that. But you can't do it for them.
Dude, let's talk about the individual that's kind of procrastinating in bed, right? Let's get this situation. They're like, you know what? I'd really like to get started either in a transformation or just to go to the gym. You could say to yourself, like, one thing's not going to get you out of bed, and that's doing it for your kids. That's not it'll just be like, the kids are in bed. The kids are in bed. Like, they're sleep. Your kids are in bed right now, right? 3 of them are still sleeping, hopefully. Like, you're not getting out of bed for them. You're getting out of bed because you want to go do some work, come home. It's 7:30, 8 o'clock. The kids get up. You've already done the work. You look at yourself in the mirror and you go, fuck, I love that guy. That's
Yep.
what you're doing it for. And so I really do think that if you have been kind of thinking about like this like, what do I need to do to start and get out of this stuckness? Ask yourself, like, what's in it for you, not what's in it for your kids or anyone external to you. Last question, cause for anyone that's kind of listening that, and I want to take yourself back to where you were procrastinating a little bit before, and with due reason, it just means that you weren't ready yet, and that's cool. What would you say to that type of a guy or girl that's kind of maybe say 10, 15 kilos over where they want to be, and it's just like, you know what, I'd like to get started, but I don't want to pay for it. I can probably do it on my own. And then we stay in that procrastination loop. Like, how can you get someone like that to take action?
It's a hard one, but I think you just got to do it. Like, what do you spend your money on? Like, if you don't spend your money on yourself, and the money's nothing. Like, this is for the rest of your life. That you're setting yourself up for being one. Look, I'm the healthiest, the fittest that I've probably ever been in my life, and that says a lot. So I'm probably the lightest I've been since high school, which that is a long time ago. Yeah. If you don't invest in yourself, what's the point? I don't understand that. Like, I obviously that was me previously, but now something's clicked in me to say, if you don't invest in yourself, you're never gonna do it. You've just got to do it. Like, it was hard. I admit it was very hard to get started. But once you get into momentum, you'll reap the benefits that you'll never be sad that you ever joined up.
Because we all want to be self-made, right? We all want to just be like, why the fuck can't I get into momentum? What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
It's not that something's wrong with you. It's like doing something that you don't really know how to do is hard. It's really hard on your own. It's not just that you need a coach. You need a support crew that's around you that's gonna keep the motivation high.
Yeah.
And so, you can probably figure it out yourself. You really can probably figure it out yourself. And if you can, amazing. But then the contrary to that is like, if it's going to take you 5 years to figure it out, do you put any value on your time or not? Now, for me, I know what that's like because I wasted 7 fucking years, man. Sorry about my language, guys, but it just like hits a bone for me. It's like I wasted 7 years trying to figure stuff out on my own. When I got a coach and figured it out in 6 months, I look back at the previous 7 years and go, oh. And I think that's what it's like for you. Let's just take yourself. How long do you reckon you were inverted commas stuck for? Inverted commas, like really kind of.
Oh, it's over 7 years. How old am I now? 44. I wish I'd done something like this when I was in my 20s, because it would have been. I can't even explain what my life would have been like now if I'd done this earlier.
Well, dude, I want to congratulate you, man, because for a kind of a guy that is willing to kind of go that length to get out of his comfort zone and kind of move through this process, bro, that's like, it takes courage to get started. Like, let's not detract from that. It does, because you got to be willing to say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to draw a line in the sand from this point onwards. And then you got to follow through, which is a challenging thing to do. What you should know is you should take a leaf out of Cause's book and just know that you don't have to be perfect. You can go to the gym once a week. In fact, don't go to the gym at all. Just work on your nutrition for the first 4 weeks. You'll lose fat. That's what will happen. And then we slowly build habits over time. Final words, mate, for you. Is there anything you kind of like to add? Not a plug. Is there anything you kind of like to add around like your journey or something that I haven't asked you?
Look, I just think that joining the BBA has been the best thing. I would not be where I am now if I didn't join this community. And that goes to everybody, like being part of the group, just seeing other guys going through the same journey that you are and the encouragement that they give you. And, you post things and they go, well done, keep going, that type of stuff. It really pushes you on and strives. And, you want to strive to do better. Like, I couldn't ask for anything more than this. And the mastermind has been amazing as well. I didn't know anybody when I came into this group, But now I've met. Look, and I went for a walk with Tez is on here. I went for a walk with Tez and Bill around the bay the other week. But I didn't really know anybody, but I've made so many new friends through this group as well.
Oh, mate, I don't need a group. I don't need this fucking Facebook thing. I'm not a Facebook guy. It's like it's so silly, guys.
Post your journey.
Yeah. It is. It's part. So anyway, I'm gonna love you and leave it there, cause just in honoring you, dude. Like I really appreciate getting to know you, particularly through the mastermind, and I hope that you're one of a succession of really cool clients that we can bring onto the podcast and kind of let them tell their story. And hopefully seeing enough of these stories will help one person who's watching or viewing, just go, you know what? Like, I'm sick of struggling. And then when you have that moment, we'll be here waiting for you to help. And that's cool. So, dude, thank you for coming on. Guys, this has been the Better Body Academy podcast, the podcast that you come to when you're sick of the dumb diets and looking like an old man or woman and you want to wind back the clock and look as sexy as 𝐃𝐨𝐲 at 44 years old. You got to give us the name of your hairdresser there, bro. Thanks so much, guys, for coming in and watching live or subscribing to the podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode. Cool, my man. Dude, that was really cool, bro.
Thanks, really man. That was really good.
Sorry, you're still live, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, yeah. No, it's so good. Like more people should talk about their story. Like it's the only way, you know, especially for people that are stuck. Like seeing other people, and like there are so many guys in this group that, mate, their stories are, so like even much better than mine. Like seriously. So,
well, the thing is, I don't know about you, but like I'm okay to be on a camera, but a lot of people are naturally camera shy, and kind of that's the next thing, when you start to, I personally think that when you start to move into like a growth phase, all of a sudden, right, it's like, okay, what can I challenge next? What can I challenge next? What can I challenge next? And maybe doing a podcast like this maybe helps you get out of your comfort zone. So that'd be cool.
Look, I've never been scared of cameras and that type of thing, but I can understand some people don't want to post and do all that type of stuff, but they really should be.
It's the truth.
Really should be.
All right, brother. I'm gonna drop you out and kick you out, and wish you and your family a beautiful weekend. Thanks for coming in live, guys, and watching. I love you, 𝐃𝐨𝐲. I'll see you soon, brother. Take care. Bye.